Welcome back, everybody.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear RJ. Happy birthday to you. It's his birthday today while we're recording. Probably not by the time we get this out because he's not going to get out today. But on Wednesday, the 16th, he was some years old because I forgot his age.
I'm 29 today, as of
Derek,
today.
I thought you were only like a year.
And actually, as a matter of fact, almost on the dot. My mom said I'm born sometime after 11 o'clock ish. So somewhere around this, because it's like 11 something a.m. at my time, when I'm recording this. So yeah, I guess so. But yeah, so welcome back, guys, to the CHG podcast. My name is RJ, aka the birthday boy, and that's David over there as well. First things first, David, I don't know if you saw, but our Congress is approved to permanently keep daylight savings time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
About fucking time. It's fucking useless now.
The Senate proposed and approved a bill for it, but it needs to go through the House and obviously Biden to make it permanent. But yeah, it was bipartisan support. Everyone
good.
Like, this is stupid
it's fucking useless. Like,
I wish though that they would just be real about it, because they're politicians, right? So they have to say, like, this bill means more time, more smiles, more productivity, blah blah blah. It's like, bitch, people just don't want to turn back the time. That's all it is.
I would love just them to be like, this is fucking useless. We should have got rid of it like forever ago.
Yeah, that's what they should just say. That's what they all should just say, because that's what they're all thinking. It's just like, yeah, this is dumb. Let's just get rid of it. There's no point. Yes, like a lot of other countries across the world, they don't have it. So, but I do know the UK does. I found that out.
2 states don't have it.
Yeah, including Arizona. I found that out.
I think that's who you were thinking of when you were like, does it Texas have?
Well, I read it in the article I read. It said something about like 10 or 12 states don't do it.
I only know of 2: Texas and Alaska.
Arizona and Alaska.
My bad. Yes, Arizona and Alaska.
You said your own state.
I know.
Alaska doesn't. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm pretty like, okay, that might be one of the Davidologies where I say it with such confidence, but I'm not exactly sure. But I'm pretty sure.
Okay, so everything you say then.
Not everything. Some stuff I have facts for.
About everything. If it's not Dark Souls or Elden Ring related, about everything else. Yeah, so that's just a little tidbit to throw out there. It doesn't change our time zone difference. That's still going to be 2 hours, but the thing is, they're keeping this one where we get more sunshine. So what that means?
Alaska has daylight savings.
Okay, cool. What that means is that during the spring to summer, we'll have the earlier sunshines, but in the fall and winter, we're going to have later ones. So that's what that's supposed to mean. But we'll see what happens. But anyways, that's not what related to this at all. Anyways, guys, back to the welcome back to the podcast where we try to talk intellectually and deeply about games, hopefully in a funny way. First things first, start off with what we're playing. So I'm going from last week. I'm actually keeping it really simple this week. And so beyond just streaming Neo and such, I'm playing that Anima Gate of Memories game that I had started last week. And it's not bad. I found out more information about it. So it was a Kickstarted game. It was fully funded. And it's based off a tabletop RPG called Anima. So that's where everything comes from. I mean, apparently it was made by 3 people.
I mean, back in the day, people could just do that. You'd be like, yeah, like, I made this game and I did it by myself because
not the tabletop game, the video game.
Oh, okay. And that's what's happening more often now.
I don't know about the tabletop game, but the video game was made by 3 people. And I mean, I knew it was an indie game because I think I bought it on an indie sale. But so I already knew that, but I didn't. Obviously, you don't know how many people made an indie game. But yeah, 3 people made it, but it was funded by they listed all the funders. Holy shit, man. There was so many. So many of them funded this game. And I don't even know why. I've never heard of the tabletop game. Have you heard of the tabletop game before? No? I mean, I never heard of it. If anyone out there knows Anima, the tabletop game, not Anima, Anima. If anyone's heard of it, let us know, because
different game.
apparently it was a big enough deal for it to get fully funded by a bunch of backers, and it even got DLC that ended up being so big it became its own game. And so I'm like, this. I don't know what the deal is with this game, but yeah, it's apparently a big deal. But anyways, this was the game that like had anime voice casting style, like it had an anime style voice casting. Like, but here's the weird thing: like, the weird thing about it is that like I don't know if it's based off anything Japanese related. That's the thing about it. Like, it doesn't seem like it comes out as if it's a dub for a Japanese based property, but I don't think it's based off anything Japanese related, which just baffles my brain. Like, you play as this chick who has like no name, one of those kind of things, no name, no past, can't remember anything. Well, she remembers some things, but like not a lot. But she's called the Bearer of Calamities because she made a pact with like the greatest monster of their time, but like
it
somehow,
does look pretty anime-ish.
That's what I'm saying. It is, but like I don't think it's based off an anime. I'm not sure. I don't think it is. But yeah, it's like she made a pact with the greatest monster of their time, but somehow sealed away his powers at the same time. And so like that's why they call the Bear Calamities, I guess, because like he was like destroying the whole world just because he wanted to, but like he has no past of his own either. And then they have to go and like stop these people, like these things called these beings called messengers, because like if they get together they can like destroy the world. And then it's mainly her, but you can play as that monster, but he's like most of the time he's like contained in a book, but you can't switch over to him to fight. But like he's still like restricted by that book, and like that like can like holds it back his true power. And like, I mean, the plot is like whatever. It's like whatever, but it's like it's enough. It's enough. Mm-hmm. I'll say that it's enough. It is an RPG, so like there's skill trees, skill points. There's like weapons, and I guess the best thing they call would just be accessories. But like weapons obviously increase your magic and your attack and your magic attack, and like your crit chance and crit damage, and then the accessories focus on your defense. But any of those can like also give you additional buffs like health regen, mana regen, key regen, things like that. And you have to actually manage your key and your magic, and stuff like that. The health system's kind of weird. So like if you're playing, Souls or Neo, when you use a potion, you just get that instant recovery, right? It's just
depending on the item. But
it's generally just. I mean, I know I've seen Elden Ring, and I know you see it gradually going up, but it's pretty damn fast. It's pretty instantaneous. Okay. And in Neo, it's just instant, right? You take your elixir, you get the health buff right away. In this game, any one of those that you use, it's on a timer, like a health timer that just increases your health, but very slowly. And I don't like it. It should just make it fucking instant. I don't know why you gotta fucking take 1,000 years to just heal my health. And it makes the game harder than it should. Even easy mode can be quite challenging, depending what bosses you're playing on. I mean, the combat's smooth, the combat works, but it's not that refined, and there's no block button. You can only dodge, which that's kind of troublesome. But it's fine. It works. I just beat it yesterday. Oh, there's Serena. I just beat it yesterday. Oh, there she goes again.
She's getting snacks.
I just beat it yesterday. Well, actually, no. There's 5 endings for this fucking game. 5 endings, bro.
Sounds about right.
There's a worst ending. There's a bad ending. There's the true ending, and then there's what do they call it? Well, one's called the joke ending, and then the other one I think is called quick ending or something like that. I don't remember, but yeah. So I did 3 of them. I did the worst, bad, and the true, and then I'm a new game plus, and that's when you can work towards the joke ending and that other ending. But also there's even a secret boss in the game, which is definitely harder than any other boss in the game by far. I died like 4 times to it. It was really annoying. Um, but yeah, like it's like light RPG. Like you could see that there's like little elements of like trying to make a build per se, but there's too few things to work with to where you can't really have one. Um,
Mm.
which sucks because like you're thinking like you could tell it's kind of like on like that's the route it's going, kind of right. Like, and obviously with the key management, like the stamina management, obviously Souls-esque and stuff, and it's like you could tell this is like it kind of seems that's the route they're going.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of like plays like an ARPG in a sense, kind of like Kingdom Hearts, where like you just run around and then you run into enemies and you fight them, you know, just open style like that. Or like a Souls game in an instance, you know, you run into enemies, you fight them as they come. Um, and so you could just tell where the inspiration is at, but like it's just they didn't go all the way with it, which leaves a little bit to be desired. But it's still fine. It's not bad. I think I would consider this an indie game, but a little bit another one where it's like it's not like indie where what we're thinking of, but like it's a little bit above that, and it's not bad. I'll probably finish it today or tomorrow and move on to something else. But yeah, are you still just playing Elden Ring? Is that just taking?
Just
Yeah,
playing Elden Ring. I
just
got to
playing Elden Ring.
I'm pretty sure I got to the final like. I got so like the story is about the Elden like tree, well the Elden Ring, and then like I can't remember what it's called, something
I think I heard
tree.
about that.
It's like this
Yeah.
big glowing tree, and I'm at the level where the city that's right next to it. So I think I'm getting towards the end of the main storyline, but I don't know. There's a whole different part of the map that I haven't even got to, so I don't know. But I've followed this build guide that I found online, and now I'm kind of just branching off because it kind of got finished, and now I'll put my points into whatever. But there's this combination of items and spells you can get that just kind of trivialize some enemies and bosses, because there's this grand magic called Azura's Comet, and it's basically like a Kamehameha beam, and then but it like drains your focus points like super fast, and then you can get this elixir mix that gives you unlimited FP for 10 seconds, and as like it fires it in a straight line, and like once you start firing it you can't adjust it. So as long as like the enemy like either just runs towards you or like stands there, you can pretty much melt any boss's health, pretty much. So it's got me through quite a bit. It's really fun to just like go up to a boss that's just like pancaked me and then just kind of ha right in the face. But yeah, it's been fun. I'm really enjoying it still. When I beat it, I mean, I might do a new game plus in this one for the very first time if I ever beat it. Who knows? There's still a big chance that I don't ever finish it, just like every other Souls like I've ever played. But I don't know. I might do a new game plus, but I also want to like do a different build. And you don't get to where you can respec until like midway through the game. So if I did a new game plus, I couldn't do a different build until then. So I don't know how I feel about that. I might just start a new game and do like a strength build. So
Oh man, strength builds are what's up, man. I think in Dark Souls, those Demon Souls, I think I had like a strength, predominantly strength, but like like a light magic mix, because I knew how important magic was in particularly that game. But I think I generally do that in general. Like in Neo, for instance, generally, no matter what build you have, you kind of want to have a good amount into magic, and even ninjutsu. Because if you remember, the more magic, like as you increase magic in your ninja, you get more skill points and you get more ninjutsu magic power to where you can get more buffs. You can get the talismans, and I don't know if you mess around with it that much, but you can get these talismans that you can use to do buffs and debuffs, which are like essential to any build in that game. And so yeah, but I was gonna ask about that little about that cheese, because it's the cheese. Let's be real, it's the cheese. But does that work for most builds as long as you have enough magic?
I mean, no, you have to dedicate yourself to magic, to intelligence, because it's level. 60.
60? Oh,
Yeah.
damn. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Fuck, that
But
sucks.
the cool thing, because it's like open world, a lot of the items that I had from the very beginning of the game were like end level, not end, but probably like mid at least, or maybe mid and a little bit game that I just like avoided all the enemies to get to and grab it
Oh yeah, you
and
told
ran
me. Yeah,
away.
you told me you were reading a guide of like where to get some really good items early on.
Yep. So no, it's been fun. But I'm I want to get this beat hopefully, and then try a strength build because there's really cool strength weapons. With the meta for this game is that magic build for sure. A lot of people are running that. I see it all over online, but also like every enemy in this game is weak to bleed. So like anything with bleed or that can build bleed is huge in this game. So I'm probably going to do a strength build, and there's a weapon that you can get that does a lot of bleed damage. So I'll probably run with that.
Dope. I haven't heard. I mean, we didn't really talk too much about the other Souls games or Blood. Well, you didn't play Bloodborne, and Souls game. But when Dark Souls 3 was still like the main thing, you didn't talk about builds as much as you have with this game. So it's interesting. It's cool to see how the game is evolving to where you can, it is kind of build heavy, like because I didn't feel like
Well,
there
I
was
mean,
because when
it
Demon
was
Souls
definitely build heavy before.
was
I
it.
just I just never cared to like look anything up. I always went just straight dex, and then I maybe looked up, hey, what's the best dex weapon, and then got that and was good. So like I never really thought about anything other than this. This, because of just its nature of being a little bit more open ended. I've been looking up a lot more things. I've also been looking up quest lines to actually complete quest lines, because like in the Dark Souls games, I wouldn't, like, unless I accidentally randomly did all the right steps to do the quests. I just didn't care to like follow the really obtuse questing that is prominent in Souls games. But this one I've been looking up the quest lines and like actually doing them, because a lot of the game is locked behind these optional quest lines. Even like whole areas of the game is
That
locked
sucks.
behind
Okay.
like these optional quest lines. But just in like Souls like fashion, like I just finished one that like you had to go to this area where they don't tell. Like I think someone said in the Reddit that like you can buy a note off of a random merchant that talks about, oh yeah, there's maybe a secret cave behind the graveyard behind this church. I don't know, maybe. And so like you have to go behind the church, and there's an illusionary wall that you have to hit, and then there's like 6 illusionary walls within, so like it looks like just a cave, and then you go further, and then like you have to hit this other wall to open up the path. You go further, you have to hit this other illusionary wall, and then you do all of that, and then there is also a secret path that you have to take to get to the part of the cave system that's pitch black and has a whole bunch of like just stupid annoying enemies to even get to the part of the place that you're supposed to be at. Like, how anyone could figure this out on their own, I have no idea. Like, thankfully someone did, and then they put it up on YouTube and Reddit. But it was ridiculous.
Oh man, that sounds. Whatever.
Yeah, it's rough.
But yeah, I will be curious. As I progress through the Soul series, I will be curious to see how the building, weapon armor building will play out. Because when I think of builds, when I only have Neo to use as a reference, and with that, like I guess I'll be comparing it to Neo in a sense, and just seeing like what that means. So, like I've asked TJ, my brother, who plays Souls as well, and he told me those games aren't really aren't really build like focused. That was his opinion. So maybe he could still be wrong, but what it may be is that like it's not imperative for those games as much.
No, I mean you can do a straight full strength build and use only strength weapons that are just that scale with strength and be good. But like if you want like a better time, there's weapons that you can start infusing poison or bleed or whatever, or a little bit of magic, and it makes certain bosses a lot easier and stuff like that. So just kind of depends.
Well, we'll see how it plays out. It'd be interesting to see how it progresses, because like in Demon's Souls, I mean, it's like a little bit there, like yeah, and like I guess what people mean by build in those games is like, okay, like you focus your stats on certain attributes, and then you make sure that like the weapons you use work well with those stats you're working on, and then you try to get armor that maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. I don't know, but that's like. I guess that's like the early stage levels of it. But like with Neo, obviously, as you know, well, you didn't get that far, but like with Neo, like every piece of armor matters, and like armor and weapons can synchronize, and then like your stats synchronize with that, and then you have accessories that synchronize with that, and then even your guardian spirit synchronizes with that, right? So
it's
like
definitely not that complicated.
Yeah, like when I think of builds, that's what I think of, right? Where every little piece matters, and then like you're trying to put all these little things into the armor and the weapons to just get to squeeze out as much as you possibly can, or be as bulky as you possibly can, and obviously that you have your stats that are working well with what you're trying to do, things like that. So that's kind of why when I think of builds, that's what I think of. So when I'm like, okay, I think Souls players, when they mean builds, is different than when I say I mean a build. So, but it'd be interesting to see it. I think it'll be interesting to see the progression nonetheless. But I will I wanted to ask one thing. Oh, not ask, but I wanted to say, so kind of following up from our conversation last week about Souls and the fact, Elden Ring, and the fact that it is its biggest. This is the biggest FromSoft launch so far. I just saw an article yesterday. The game has sold 12 million copies already. 12 million, double-digit million, from a game that's supposed to be niche. It's a genre that's supposed to be niche, right?
Yeah.
At its heart.
It's blowing up on TikTok and
TikTok.
Dude, TikTok is
what?
Is where everything is.
People dying? Of just showing people dying?
Who knows, man? It's like, if you want to be popular, like you got to be on TikTok now.
That's true. I mean, that's true. But the thing is, like, obviously though, but the target audience for TikTok is still young teens or teenagers and young adults, right? That's still the target audience. And so those are the same people probably that are coming into the Souls genre for the first time and then getting absolutely, like as you said, pancaked. Or as you said last week, they're getting dark sold.
Yeah.
And so like it's just weird. Like they're using the platform to get the recognition, but they're getting to an audience that are like feeding the problem that we're seeing with like the review bombing and all that shit. But it's just interesting, right? But it's 12 million copies, right? And that's, you don't usually see double digit copies for many games, even like games you would think. Like even Nier Automata hasn't sold double digits, right? And that's one of the most best review games in the last decade. So it just tells you like this is the farthest reaching game there's ever been for FromSoft, and obviously with that, that's just proof of like it just leads to a lot of people who maybe shouldn't be playing this game, or was playing the game had no idea what was going on, or just learning the hard way of what this is all about, and then so that's kind of just fuels all the trolling or all the review bombing or the hate, just the ignorance. Basically, you're gonna have a lot of ignorant people coming into this game who don't know better. But yeah, anyways, let's move on here. Fun question, and this actually could probably be a long one because of the nature of the question. Okay. It might end up like, it's probably gonna be half the podcast, and it's something David has tooted to me many times throughout the years, and even when we worked at GameStop. But maybe it's changed, and I would like to hear what he has. What is in your head? Tell the people what your most ideal game would be.
Oh, okay. So you're talking about my One Piece game.
It can be One Piece. I didn't know that was still like your holy grail. If you were given, you won the lottery, you were able to get a development team at the top, and you're like, no fucking publishers pushing you to like, we need this in a year, none of that shit. Just you and the dev team handle it. what tell the people how you would want your perfect game to be, and like describe it.
Yeah,
Detail it.
so it's a One Piece game. It's a One Piece RPG where you don't follow the Straw Hats.
And you don't fight people all the fucking time. It's not a brawler.
Yeah, it's not one of these brawlers that have come out, you know, stuff like that. It's an RPG. You create your character in the One Piece world. You get to choose what blue you. For people who don't know One Piece, a lot of this is going to go over your heads, but you get to choose. You get to choose your which blue you're in, which is the starting area, and then you start out with just you're this wannabe pirate, and you start out in your little town, and you have to go do odd jobs, and that's kind of like the tutorial. As you do odd job missions, they teach you the mechanics of fighting and whatever other mechanics there are in the game. And then you do this to buy your first like skiff, like your first boat, and then you can go out sailing, and you can fight and do missions and like gain a crew. Like there'll be like NPCs scattered around the world to where like you can recruit them, and you can get like a navigator. And when you get a navigator, that means that you can chart stuff, and you can go further out. You can get a marksman, and now you have the ability to have like cannon battles on your ship, and whatever. Like you can recruit a crew. You can find devil fruits, which are these things that give you like magical powers kind of things. You can eventually level up and get hockey, which is another One Piece thing. But anyway, like basically it would be like a true, like think about like if you don't like One Piece, whatever. If you're into anime, think about any anime, or if you like Harry Potter, whatever. Like think about those kind of things. And instead of being forced to follow Harry or forced to follow Naruto or Luffy or Tanjiro from Demon Slayer, whatever, instead of that, it's your own story set in the universe that you get to live out. So like maybe you run into, Luffy and the Straw Hat crew, and you do a mission with them or whatever, but like your guy is your guy and your crew, and you can, try to find the One Piece on your own. Or like if it was Naruto, you get to choose what village you get to start out at, and that changes everything. Like I just want an actual RPG of an anime property that is good, that you get to create your own character, and it has very little, if nothing, to do with the normal crew. Because as soon as you introduce any crew or any like of the characters from the anime, it's their story. Like it's weird to see them. Like I played other games where the maybe they're not the main focus, but the recognizable property is still constantly there, and it just feels weird and out of place that you're running around in their story and it's not your story. I don't know. So like I don't know who would make it. Like I'm trying to think like who makes like a really like honestly FromSoft like, but that's
no, we don't want a Dark Souls One Piece game.
That's because I'm just playing that a lot. But like
we don't want that.
Maybe BioWare back in the day could have done
it. Honestly, I feel if you're looking for the narrative, that rich narrative, yes, BioWare. But given that this is based off an anime, I might go with whoever the fuck made Nier Automata.
Yeah, I mean they don't like Nier. There wasn't too much like they had the story and stuff, but there's not a lot of that like branching RPG building.
True,
like,
but I mean building. They could because
yeah, I don't know. I
think they have the chops for it.
Yeah, I would just want someone to like really do it. Really like it would be all about the world, like making sure the world is right, and that like you feel like it's your own story, and like you could choose to be a bad pirate or to be a good pirate, or hell, you could even choose to join the Marines. I don't know, like, or the Navy.
Maybe grab.
Sometimes I get confused about the dub or the sub. So in this is a little off tangent. In one of the two, or in the sub or the dubbed, they're either called the Marines or the Navy, and I forget which is which in what one. So I think it's Navy in the subs because there's admirals. I don't know. Anyway,
If you're an otaku like David, answer the question below. All right,
I could Google it, but
go
I
remind
can't.
him. Nah, just go put it because we need the comments. Don't do it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I was gonna say maybe grab the guys who did Biomutant or grab Monolith, the guys who did Shadows of Mordor.
Yeah,
They
something.
might not be bad.
But
Or
like
whoever
here's
made
the thing, I don't even need it to be that interactive. Like I'm fine with it being like a turn-based RPG. Like what I really want is just the character building and the world building. Like it could be a turn-based and I'd be fine with that. Obviously I would like more interaction, but that's hard sometimes when I'm thinking about all the different mechanics that I want. Like there's going to be, sword fighting, gunplay, hand to hand. Then there's also going to be all the devil fruit powers and the hockey powers. So that'd be a lot to put in like a action RPG because there'd be so many different ways to play.
Yeah,
So
I
like
think
turn-based,
turn-based would be better.
yeah, turn-based would be fine. I just want to be able to like have a crew and like decide who I want to like give devil fruit powers to, and who I want to do what role. Like I don't know, it'd be really cool.
I think that'd be better. I was gonna. So I have some questions
Mm.
to kind of fulfill this more. I don't know if you thought. I don't know how deep you thought about it, but I imagine you have thought deeply about this.
Pretty deep. Pretty deep.
How would you make sure that it differentiates itself from AC4, or is it inevitable and that may be actually a good thing?
AC4,
Assassin's Creed.
Oh, okay. Flag. Okay. Oh, okay. Like so
because you're basically describing the pirate game, and when everyone thinks of a big successful pirate game, they're going to think of Assassin's Creed Black Flag.
Yeah. So for one, it depends. Okay, right. So even though One Piece is a pirate anime, the majority of the anime and events that take place do not happen on the sea. Like they're because like all of the cool powers, all of the cool fights are not because of the boat or the ship. It's the people. So like you maybe it's like less of a mechanic of like sailing around than just like traveling. Like maybe it's just quick travel. Who knows? Like I think I'd want it to be travel because like there's a certain element to like because about like finding your own path in the anime and like having a good navigator helps you out and like stuff like that. So like I think in an ideal world I would want that travel and that discovery, like the sense of like just coming upon an island and searching it, and maybe you find a devil fruit or you find something cool. But I don't think there would be necessarily that much like ship to ship battles. I think that it could maybe start like maybe if you're in an encounter, a random encounter, like you see a ship and how like sometimes you see it like in turn-based RPGs, you see the enemy and you can like sneak up on them, but then and then the turn-based thing happens. Like maybe it's that like you can like based off your ship, if your ship's really good and you fire a volley, like that'll damage the people, and then you go into like a turn-based battle between the ships. Like who knows how it would like I didn't think about that too much, but I think it's more about the like it's not I wouldn't say there's a lot to do with ship battles.
Okay, because the anime doesn't heavily focus on it. No. Okay, but the thing is though, I think even if this game is just mainly for the anime fans, or maybe just anime style fan of games, whatever, I think people would still expect some kind of ship battles. So maybe like 10-25%, but most of the ship is meant for like just sailing, and that could be a good spot where you have your character building, right? Your camaraderie, because like AC4, I mean, you love the sea shanties that they would just sing randomly while you're just sailing, right? You got the fucking CD for it, and so obviously there's proof to show that like you don't know any of these people. You don't care about any of them, but you do get the immediate sense of like this. They are a crew. They are together. They do, they are trying to be one. And so I think the ship could be a really good spot for where instead of you can maybe an option could be like instead of you controlling the ship to know where to go, like maybe right away, you can have the chance of like you can walk around the ship. Like in third person or something like that, like walk around the ship, talk to your people, and that's when you can have like your narrative stuff sometimes, like we have different options to choose.
Your
what you
ship
want to
would
say to
definitely
people
be your hub
and stuff.
like that's
Yeah,
where
the ship could be the hub.
like
the ship could be the
would
hub, more or
definitely be
less.
the
Yes,
hub. And
that's
like
a good way of putting it.
as you get better ships, or like maybe you just upgrade your ship, because another thing, like a theme of the anime is like the ship is part of the crew. So like you don't just get a better ship because you can in the anime, or like they never did. Like the episode where they have to put to rest the Going Merry, their first ship, is like the most emotional, one of the most emotional scenes in the entire anime. Like it like all of a sudden has a spirit for the first time ever. Like they never have mentioned it having a spirit. Like they've kind of talked about it in like a literal sense, like, oh, the Going Merry has done so much for us, and the Going Merry has pushed herself so hard, and so like but like that happens all the time. Like people name their cars, but then like when they're burning the ship to like put it to rest, like the spirit like shows up and it's like wishes them well, like in a kind of like ghostly manner.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, so like it's definitely like you wouldn't like constantly be like buying better ships and stuff like that, but you might be upgrading them, and maybe like in the first half of your adventure, like you're fine with the ship that you have, but then when you go to the Grand Line, like you have to get a better ship, like how the Straw Hats did. So I don't know.
Like maybe there's only like a few instances where you have to upgrade like we actually have to get a new ship, like only like a few, like maybe 3 or 4 times in the game.
Yeah.
And maybe even then you don't have to do it if you don't want to. Yeah. I mean, you're gonna have a hard time, but like it's like a big choice. But I was thinking, going back to having like actually showing the actual mainstay character like Luffy and the gang and all them, they could maybe be like secret bosses.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind fighting them. Like I think it would depend. I think it would depend. Like it would depend on like what kind of crew you are. Like if you are more aligned with people that Luffy doesn't like Doflamingo or Big Mom or someone like that, then maybe maybe you fight him. Or if you're aligned with the the Navy. But I think if you're aligned with like, maybe you can make a pirate alliance and they're in the pirate alliance, even though Luffy's not about pirate alliances. I don't know.
Well, with RPG, what you can easily, it doesn't matter what who you start off with, you can easily just change the narrative. If you're one of the people that he hates, then that's easy. It's like, I've been waiting all this time to fight you. Let's put it to rest, blah, 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 right? But if you're one of his allies or some neutral party to him, you can just make it to just be like,
a test of strength.
Yeah, like you just like, hey, let's just have like a friendly fight. Or I was thinking it more of like a ship battle though, but we can make it. It could be a turn-based fight as well. But yeah, or it could be a 2-parter. First, you have to take down. It's a ship battle, and then whoever if you beat them, then you have to take them out like on a nearby island or something like that, or like the final battle, something like that. But yeah, I mean, it just that's what I was thinking when you mentioned and not just Luffy, like other maybe some other big names, right? Big other leaders of other crews. They're like scattered throughout the world. You have to go find them. At least my next question: would you want it to be like a Breath of the Wild situation where you can find accidentally like the end game boss, or like a secret boss like way before you should? Or would you want it to keep some linearity to
it? So I want it based on the anime, and based off the anime, they have these things called log posts. And essentially what it is like you can't navigate in what they call the Grand Line without these navigation watches called log posts. And to get a log post like directed at the next island, you have to go to the subsequent island. And if you don't do it, there's no way to find the island. So you have to go to each island pretty much, or an adjacent island, to eventually get to the next island. So it would be more linear in like how you go about that.
Yeah, that would be a little bit of a
at least when you get to Grand Line, at least,
because linear RPGs are a little bit of a harder sell in the grand scheme of things. But yeah, we're not thinking about all that shit. But okay, a more linear RPG. All right, that's fine. I mean, I for one do like them. Like the one I'm playing, the anime game. It's a bit of a linear RPG, to an extent. Like you can't accidentally get to the end game boss, right? There's like gates that block you and stuff like that. And I like it because it makes the game a lot. Those games don't end up being as long a lot of the time, which is good for me and good for a lot of people because not everyone people just have less and less time nowadays. But yeah, I like it. I don't know if I would play it, but I'll definitely watch you play it.
Yeah.
Just to see how that would work.
I'll be all about
what kind of, I don't know, this is kind of just curious now. What kind of engine would you want? Would you want it? I mean, I know it's going to look cartoonish because it's anime, but would you want it to look like an anime, like Scarlet Nexus, or something maybe a little bit more like a mix between realism but still cartoonish realism?
In my head, it looks like the anime. Like,
okay, so just
as
like it.
as
Okay.
close to the anime art as I could get within a video game. So
Okay.
I don't know how they would achieve that, but in my head, that's what it is. And it's this like different art for like if it was Naruto, it would look like Naruto. If it was Demon Slayer, it would look like Demon Slayer. So
well, I will say because like some anime games look the same. That's just based off my, like for instance, the Dragon Ball, the DBZ games and the Naruto games, kind of similar styles to me.
Yeah, well, I mean that has anime history behind it. I could get into that, but
okay. Yeah. Does One Piece share that with them?
No, One Piece has a very unique style.
Okay, cool.
Essentially, Naruto was built to be the next DBZ, so there's a lot of similarities. There's a lot of similarities in all shonen, but especially between Naruto and DBZ.
Speaking of shonen, speaking of games that we don't have, how the fuck has there not been a fucking Food Wars cooking simulator yet? How the hell have we not had
isn't
that?
Big enough, like
we have Overcooked. We got Overcooked. How can we not get a Food Wars?
They just need a Food Wars DLC.
Hell yeah, bro! Are you kidding me? Oh man, see, I'm not a big. So I like anime. I just don't watch a lot of it, but I watch Food Wars, and hot damn, man.
That would turn Overcooked's E rating to a mature rating for sure.
Instantly, overnight, right away. No kids, don't play this.
Anytime you deliver a plate, it's just like a couple seconds later, you just hear orgasming going on.
Oh yeah, and then you see remnants of clothes flying by that got ripped off. Oh yeah, that was that anime so good. Cool. Well, that's cool. I mean, I already knew that was his game because he would just tell me this at GameStop when we're together, just randomly. I didn't ask for this shit.
He's like, anytime an anime game came out, I was like, it's the same bullshit.
Because it would just remind you just of like how mad you are at anime games.
It's the same bullshit.
They either kind of fall in the lines of a brawler or
a fighter.
I guess yes, a fighter, or like that with like mixed with like, well, some of them are RPGs. I've seen some of them. Some of them actually are RPGs, turn-based RPGs, but then they have like these like visual novel elements to them too, which is strange. Generally, if they have a lot of the waifus, that's where you see that. But
what I don't like is that it either one tells the same story that I have seen done better in the anime. Like it's like, oh, we're gonna have the whole Cake Island arc. I'm like, yeah, I fucking saw this, and it's better in the anime. Like, or they'll do like some like side story that because it can't be canon is completely devoid from any relevant characters really, and is mostly like stupid. Just like I think most anime movies up to recent times are typically just stupid because they can't be canon, and it just it, so there's no stake to it. And I never liked anime movies up until My Heroes 2 Heroes was really good, and then this Jujutsu Kaisen 0 is gonna be amazing, but that's because it is canon. So
but your game is not gonna be is it canon?
True, true. But like, it's not going to be involved in the story either. It's going to be my own story. So I won't have expectations of these characters, and they can't be like, the part of it's like this like slightly offness about the characters. Like they're never truly how they should be. So like having it be your own characters, your own stories, like you might run into some people, but they're not going to impact the story so much that it's going to be too weird, in my head at least.
So, are you trying to take this on the Hogwarts Legacy route?
Yeah, just like as like in the world, but at almost if completely devoid of any characters that we know.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, that's his game. I already knew about it though, but I wanted to ask more deeper questions about it, and he
Yeah.
could let you guys know how much. Yeah, this man has been asking for a true RPG anime
Of
game off
any
of a big
anime
anime
property.
property.
Any
Well,
anime property.
ideally a big one, but he'll take what he can get.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not a
for
DBZ guy, but if they made like I was really excited about Kakarot even because I was like it sounded like okay, it's still about it's still about Goku, but it sounds like maybe it's kind of what I want, and then it wasn't. So
yeah, and the reviews reflect that because I haven't seen an anime game besides DBZ Fighters from a few years back
yeah.
that like got rave reviews. I mean, I remember when Jump Force came out. I remember when that was supposed to be the big thing too. That was
Yeah, that
supposed
was
to be a
back when I
giant
was still
thing.
excited for
Big.
games.
That was like 2016. Yeah, you were so pumped for Jump Force. I was pumped for you. I was
Then I
like,
ended
yo,
up
you're
not
missing
getting
this
it
be so
because like
good.
then I was like, oh wait, never mind. It's just a fighter. It's just an arena fighter.
Yeah. Anyway, so my game has I always wanted like again also an RPG, ironically, but I wanted something more narratively involved with like a Guitar Hero game or Rock Band game. And it would
Okay.
never work. It would never work. This is why this is all fantasy because it would require you to like use your controller for the RPG bits, but then
Yeah.
like there's also songs to play that you'll need a guitar for, right?
So like
Like
you would have to like build a band and like recruit a band and they'd have
kind
like
of yeah, like
skills.
it's kind of but like an RPG in the sense of like I guess maybe not an RPG, I don't know, but like there's like bits where like you're playing as a character, you walk around, you do things, you're trying to like build yourself, but like more than just because like in the games it's so streamlined, right? It's just you had a band, just you and three other guys, and you guys just did so fucking well. Some agent was just there and just was like, "Let me sign you guys," and you just skyrocket from there. Like that's just supposed to happen. No, that
Yeah, it's a
never happens.
fantasy. Yeah.
That never happens, right? And I think it'd be really cool to really do a legit rags to riches thing, right? And like maybe even get help from actual like members of rock bands to like
Mhm.
kind of like help me out, like give like their stories of how it went for them. I'm talking like rock bands from like new and old, right? I don't know what the
Yeah.
newer bands are nowadays, but like grab some of them, grab some classic guys if any of them are still alive and actually want to talk to me.
Well, here's what I'm thinking, like right off the bat, right? So like it's an RPG. I know you want there to be elements of actual Guitar Hero in it, so where you play the songs. So however working that in, but like you know, you could start off in your own hometown and you play local shows, and then if you play well enough in those local shows, then you might get like an invite by the by the local venue that's like, hey, we're gonna have some band, maybe it's like a minor but like signed band, they're going to be playing, they need an opener, do you guys want to open? And then you're like, yeah, and then you play that opener and you kill it, and then that band's like, hey, we like you, we got a rest of the tour, like, do you want to be the opener in the city over? And like it progresses from there.
Yeah, so
But
like that, but like even more broken down. So like you start off, you might even go. I mean, maybe you could have different routes. I don't know.
you started
like,
your high school band, like
yeah,
you're
like you
just
could
in
maybe
high
go
school
back to
band,
high school. You're
like
just playing in high
playing
school.
like just 3 lines over and over again in your high
or
school
like
band.
you play in the assembly during like the pep assembly. Like you can play
In
like
the
a
talent
song, the
show.
pep assembly, or the talent show, or something like that. You
You
play
gotta
like something real
gotta find
simple.
other people in your school, like
Yeah, you have to
the
convince
loner
them.
who's the amazing drummer. But
Yeah, and that's when you could have like in Fallout, you have to use like intelligence or speech to like convince them of shit. And so like you're talking to people, like you'll talk to them. You have like different. You can have like you have your speech high enough. You can then convince them like to be the singer because like maybe that person like he can sing and he knows he can sing, but he's like nervous and shy and he's like, I don't know, man, I just don't know if I want to go up there. And you use speech your speech is high enough, and you can convince his ass that you give him the confidence that he needs to know that he's like yeah,
See,
okay, you know what, I can do it,
see,
and then you do that with with like bass, drums, and maybe even rhythm if you have that, maybe fucking keyboardist if you have one of those.
you gotta decide what type of band you are. So
Yeah, and then you have to go meet up with them, figure out what you want to play, and you have to do all. So kind of like in a Guardians of the Galaxy, where I think there's bits where like you play, when you're Star Lord, you sit down in your chair, you see everyone in the first person perspective, and you hear everyone out, and then from there you kind of take everyone's feedback and you make the decision, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now I know you're not the leader technically; usually it's the singer who's the leader, but like in this case, the leader's not confident, so he'll like default it to you. He'll de facto the decision to you, and so that'll give you the freedom to be like, okay, you know what? I think what we should do is this, right? Or that, and this and that, and maybe you'll make some people upset. Maybe others will be happy. Maybe some people don't even care. So you'll have like in Mass Effect, your relationship points will differ with your members.
People can leave the band.
Yeah, or people might even fucking leave out of nowhere, right? Maybe they'll leave the day before the day before the talent show, and you have to scramble and figure it out. And if your speech is high enough and your like charisma's high enough, you can get do last minute replacement of some fucking drum prodigy. As you start like in high school, you kill it, or you can just start off maybe a little bit older, but like you're just playing on the street, like you're just a street player, right? And then you somehow get the attention of obviously you'll be playing something acoustic, obviously.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen some street performers with a little amp.
You're not going to be shredding with an amp.
I don't know. I've seen it.
I know you've seen it, and I've probably seen it too. But like, that's not. You're going to scare people away. Okay. Or you know what? Fuck it. It's an RPG. You can go that route. You can choose if you want to start off with acoustic or electric, but either way, you're probably playing some more simple songs. Or you know what? If you want to go the hard route, this would be the what do you call it? What does Souls call it? The prisoner, where you have no clothing. You're just you're a bum. So like this would be like the challenge mode route where like you could start off as a street bum, but you're playing electric, so the songs that you play will be a lot harder than your standard beginning songs. Like you'll start off like midway or maybe even like the next tier higher songs right off the bat. That maybe that can lead to like a quicker succession, right? Because like if you're fucking shredding from the get go, you'll have a better chance of catching the eye of like maybe not a singer, but maybe an actual fucking like producer. Right off the bat. And then that kind of streamlines little things with faster, right? But then I'm thinking like, if you're going like the more traditional route, like high school or just college or a band or garage band or whatever, you play some songs, but you play gigs, right? And like you have like a friend, like a best friend who's like outside of the band who you kind of just talk with and hang out with. He's like, part of the narrative. Like kind of, one of your biggest fans rooting you on. Because the mom thing is outplayed, so like it'd be your best friend who's like rooting you on, right? Maybe a partner if you have one, and then you don't just play a gig and get heard. You have to play a few gigs, like several gigs, right? Because as I would probably imagine, if I were talking to a lot of band members who hearing their journey, it probably took a while before anyone really gave them any attention, right? They had to play a lot of gigs, and so like. Showing that, right? Like the early game will be like a Souls game in the sense that it's really hard in the early game because like you have to play all these gigs. You won't have much money. Even if you kill it, you will probably make $100 at most $100, right? And you got to split that. And you have to figure out where to go to the next game. Like maybe you'll start off locally for a while to build up your funds, or you can maybe just take it to where you go to the next city over, but that's gas and that's food that you have to pay, that gets lost, right? And so like you won't have as much money if you go that route, but you might get more exposure if you go that route because you're going other places. And so you have all that going on, and you just do that. I don't know how long you would do that for, but you just do that for a while, and then hopefully one day you'll get a notification saying like, hey, like this guy, there's word that someone might be here, right? That is kind of important. So do your best. And you might have to you have to get 5 stars, like mandatory for that gig particularly. Any difficulty is fine, but you have to have 5 stars, right? To like get that guy's attention. And if you don't, he's just gone and you have to keep playing again until that opportunity shows up again.
Another thing too,
like where there's real risk and reward here. There's real risks involved It's not just like you'll do well and move on. If you don't do well, you got to figure it out.
Well, another thing too, eventually you'll need to start like uh, original songs will have to be written
Oh
for this
gosh, no,
game.
okay. I'm not. I didn't think that.
I mean, I'm just saying.
because I remember Guitar Hero did that with like the Guitar Hero Mixer feature that they introduced in World Tour, and they have that for like a few of their games up until they stopped making them. Rock Band never did it, but Guitar Hero did, and I for one hated it. I don't like that shit because maybe the tools weren't that responsive, but like I for one didn't like that.
Well,
And
I'm not
yeah,
saying
some people
you
will.
would make it. I'm just saying that like they would have to hire a band to make original songs.
Oh, yeah, okay, and that would be a good case to like have like a lot of indie guys in the game because we can make it seem like original songs because probably no one's probably heard of them, right? And so
Yeah.
like it'd be a good chance to give a lot of indie spotlight to a lot of indie bands because no one's really going to have heard of them anyways, and we can make that seem like the band is making their own original music, and we can even have maybe a particular band that I might like make an actual original fucking album and that'll be in the game, right? Like
Yeah.
maybe not a full 12 LPs, but like maybe 6 songs, 5 songs, but we'll make it seem like it's a record. And I'll be like, if they get big enough, that's what debut album. Here we go. You play it like it's some big old arena, but like but I'm saying like all the bits and pieces, like really showing, the rags to riches story of a rock band, right? And obviously your avatar is whoever you want, guy or girl, and you could even choose. But like I don't like how they always just like have these presets of like punk, glam, rock, heavy metal, death metal. It's just you can choose like an instance, like maybe you can have that maybe be like your attitude, how you act per se, like how kind of like you've been living your life maybe. But as far as how you dress and how you look, that's whatever you want it to be. There's no presets for that shit. And one thing that Rock Band 4 dropped the ball with was that, like, and maybe you remember, all the characters are like paper thin. Every one of them. You cannot
there's no body
change
types.
you cannot, I think you can change maybe their height, but you cannot change their weight at all. And that was really weird. And so, yeah, this would be like, any height, any weight, anything. Make them look androgynous, make them look trans, make them look whatever you want to do with them, put them out there, right? But depending on their attitude, maybe that might change. Maybe certain like how you start off with your stats, maybe how you start off, maybe where you are, like things like interactions that you have, who you meet. Maybe that might change a few things depending on how if you're more of a death metal guy, maybe you might meet certain people, right? Or if you are just you just like good old rock and roll, you'll meet more people overall because you're kind of more open into old genres, right? Of rock. And so like things like that, right? But it's just really like, but like no one would never work because there's gonna be a lot of parts where you're playing just you with a regular controller going around town doing your thing, kind of like Persona in a sense, like it's like RPG but also a life sim. So it's kind of like that. Like you have your Guitar Hero playing. It is a rhythm game, but you have all of this like not life sim per se, but like you have to go and build out your band and yourself and your relationships and figure out where you want to play. And maybe you will just become the de facto leader of your band, just to make things simple, just to make things narrative simple. So like you're kind of in charge until you get a manager. You're kind of in charge of where you should go, how you should manage the money, things like that. You're in charge of all that. You have to make these decisions. But when you get a manager, you don't just you can let the manager just take care of everything for you, or you can still be involved in a way, make sure the manager doesn't screw you over, because there's always a chance the manager can fuck you over. And so you have all that playing out, and maybe there's like a narrative branch with like the manager is like trying to screw you over, and like you have to like do some kind of like, I don't know, battle of the bands where like you come like you're just having a head with the manager, and he's like, you know what, we want you out. Be like, well, you can't because the contract says I get to be with you guys for 2 years. And it's like, well, how about this? You get your band, you get the best band you could possibly get. We'll have a battle of the bands, and whoever wins, and if we win, you have to leave, and if we lose, you can stay, or you can have full control of our IP as long as you're our manager. Something it's a video game, right? So you have to have these video game things in there.
Yeah.
So like you have all that stuff. That can be like a boss battle of sorts or something. And you play like a 5-song set with them or whatever. You have to like beat their score or like a audience rating or something like that, right? You had to beat something that the band did. And it's all like that and everything. Now the songs involved, I don't know. I did not think of that. That's way too much thought, right? I mean, that would have I know the Foo Fighters would be in there somehow. I know they're in there somehow. And like, even maybe you could even have some cool ass like guitar battles, right? Like one-on-one guitar battles of like famous guitarists. And because I know Dave Grohl would be involved in that because he's such a cool guy. He would absolutely be in that shit. It's like Dave Grohl, maybe if we were able to get the rights to like make the likeness of certain guitarists who have passed away, maybe do that. Because I think the guitarist for Black Sabbath passed away. Pete Townsend, I think he's the guitarist for the Who. Whoever played for Boston, and then but I want to include all genres though, like all genres, because like Guitar Warriors of Rock was really good with the genres, all the genres that it encompassed. I mean, I loved that set list. Even songs I had never heard of were really fun. And so I kind of want to at least be able to get that, right? Even if songs you've never heard of, that they're really, really fun to play. Like good rhythms, good beats, guitars are really nice and catchy, really fun. So don't worry, we'll have plenty of your emo in there. That'll be all over there. We'll have Take It Back Sunday all day, every day. AFI will be all up in there. Don't worry. Anne Berlin all day. Don't worry. We'll have your bands. Don't worry, David. I might even make like a special set list that's just called the David set list, but no one's gonna know who David is. They'll be like, oh, I guess it's just some memorial for David or whatever. Like, bitches, you don't know who it is. It's like, nah, that's my buddy right there. That's his set list. And like his old emo songs are like, what the like David? I guess David was an emo, I guess.
It's a sad little boy.
Yeah, that's the good thing. Oh, okay. I guess that's who he is. But yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking in my head. It's like just a straight up RPG / rhythm game, but like, for like a Guitar Hero thing. I'm not saying Guitar Hero just because that's what that would make it easier for people to understand. Yeah. It would play, the rhythm stuff would be like Guitar Hero Rock Band, right? I'm not going to fucking change anything. I'm not going to fuck with anything because we saw a lot of those knockoff games do that and they ended up being terrible. I remember Rock Revolution. Remember that shit? Remember Rock Revolution?
Yep.
One of those knockoff games. I solved the interface for that game. It is the most garbage shit I've ever seen in my life. It looks like it reminded me of Guitar Hero on tour for the DS, but on a system, like on a home system. And I was like, the fuck? So like, I would have to change enough to where Activision and Harmonix, whoever, they don't sue me, but like it would play out the same way though. The 5 notes coming at you. That would be at least the base. Maybe the devs can think of some cool little things to differentiate it a little bit. But at its core, that's what it is. But the differentiating thing will obviously be the RPG element, like that after you play the song, or the set element. Like, what do you do afterwards, right? But again, I know it would never work because it would be, I bet, cumbersome to have people switch between the guitar controller and then having to go back, because you might be on a high. You might be on a high playing really good on a guitar. You just want to keep playing, but it's like, oh wait, here's your stop. Now we have to figure out finances.
Well, for the controller, here's it is. Like, you have your guitar, right? And like the front is the guitar playing, and then you flip it, and there's like a play pad with like buttons and stuff on the back of the guitar, so you don't have to like necessarily grab your controller.
That sounds like a more expensive peripheral than it needs to be. I was also thinking maybe you could go the route of what Guitar Hero used to do, where you could play the guitar notes on a controller. I've shown you that I can do that. You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
so
you're
maybe
the only one.
that might be a route to go, because in that way you don't have to switch the controller. But again, like I was saying, like this is why I know it would never work, because that's just too much cumbersome. I know people would get annoyed with it, even if the game was spectacular and fantastic for what it was and what it was trying to do. I know it would not sell well.
You're talking like, I mean, my game is pretty niche, but like at least anime is becoming more and more popular. Like your game is like the niche of niche. Like rhythm games is niche. Yeah. Rhythm games is niche, and then you're gonna like, oh no, it's a rhythm RPG game. Like it's even more niche, and then like it's not even just rhythm RPG. It's a rhythm RPG life sim.
Kind of
of a specific life, so even more niche. Like you're just into the niche. Like
I
you
don't
are.
mean to be. This is why we call them dreams. Okay, this is why they're called dreams, because that's we know they're never happen.
Yeah, neither one
Never
of ours is
happen.
gonna happen. So it's
Yeah,
fine.
but at least yours is a little bit more reasonable. You just need to have
A
the
little
we
bit.
just need the right developer to just be willing to take and Shonen or whoever owns the property just be willing to take that chance and not do the same old shit. That's all it takes for yours. For mine,
True.
I don't. I mean, not only would it take a ridiculous budget and
You
the right
becoming a
devs,
millionaire is pretty much
that's not even it, because like to sell a game even make the game and then to sell it knowing it's at a loss immediately, or it's not gonna sell. I don't know if I could do that. I honestly don't know if I could do that. I would have to be a billionaire probably, because then I'm like, what's $40 million to a billionaire? You know, like that's nothing. So yeah, so that's never happened. That's my dream. A man can wish. But yeah, so that's gonna wrap up this episode, guys. I had a feeling this was gonna take a while because I know, yeah, Dave and I, we have dreams. We think big. We think get you a man that can think big. Anyways, so yeah, we'll be back the next week with another podcast. But until then, you guys take care. Like this video, subscribe if you're new, hit the bell if you want to know when we post us up again first.
comment what your ideal game is below. Write us paragraphs. Give us
Paragraphs.
Your whole...
I demand I want a dissertation on my desk tomorrow. But yeah, guys, we'll see you guys next week. Take care. Goodbye.